get into our first topic. Should the Chancellor raise income tax? Get your calls in now. 0207 862 2222 is the number that you need. Rachel Reeves is being urged to cut national insurance by 2p and increase income tax by 2p. Now, the think tank that suggested this, they say that this would level the playing field on tax, protecting workers' pay packets, so they essentially wouldn't see any change in their tax payments because the national insurance would take care of the increase to their income tax. And they say that this could raise up to £6 billion a year. That's a considerable amount of money. And this would mean that nearly 9 million pensioners already paying income tax would face a bigger bill. And that's because income tax applies to a wider group of taxpayers than just employee national insurance. So, as well as pensioners, landlords, self-employed, would also paying slightly more, 2p more in income tax. Michael, good idea, bad idea?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, the argument, or I should say, the reason it's being taken seriously is because the Resolution Foundation is known as quite close to the Labour Party. Their former director, Torsten Bell, is now in the Treasury with Rachel Reeves. I suppose phrasing it as, is this fair for pensioners, I think maybe gets it the wrong way around, because I think we have to ask, is the status quo fair for workers? Because at the moment we have income tax, which is paid by sort of everyone who gets an income, and then national insurance, which is only for people who are working, and it's also higher for people on PAYE than people who are self-employed, so people who are employed or who are employees as opposed to people who are self-employed. So this is just to say, let's equalise it all. You know, if you're earning income from work, if you're earning income from a pension, if you're earning income as a landlord, if you're earning income as a self-employed person, let's tax it all the same, which to me seems eminently sensible.
Yeah, I mean, and again, just to reiterate, what the Resolution Foundation are suggesting would not see people pay more tax on their pay packets, because the reduction in national insurance by 2% and the addition of income tax by 2p, that cancels itself out. So if you are getting a salary, there's going to be no change there, but it will affect, Dawn, that 9 million pensioners.
It will. And what happened to the government's promise not to touch national insurance, not to touch income tax? This is
was that a promise? They said they're not going to raise taxes on working people.
Well, working people. OK, well, this affects self-employed people an awful lot. They're working. Are they not working people?
Yep.
Many people who are landlords are also working people. Many pensioners are still working people.
Yeah, you could have argued as well that the people who run small businesses and have had to now pay more in national insurance contributions, yes, they're also working people because they're working for their businesses.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're paying more in national insurance, which we were promised would not happen. This is just another U-turn. We are all paying the highest taxes in 70 years, and that hasn't helped our economy at all. It is absolutely tanking. Our national debt is through the roof. We are in big trouble, and I think this is just tweaking around the edges, and I think it's very, very unfair on pensioners.
Okay.
A fiscal drag is going to drag them into paying more in any case. You're giving with one hand, you're taking away with another. OK,
and just briefly, because Ian's waiting to speak to us. I mean, if you're not going to raise taxes and you don't want to cut services, what do you suggest? You borrow more money?
We can't borrow anymore. We're already trillions in debt, aren't we?
So where do we find that money?
We have to make cuts somewhere. We have to cut back.
OK. All right. Ian's in Nottinghamshire. Ian, good morning. Welcome to the show. Is this a good idea, raising income tax by 2p, lowering national insurance by 2p?
What is the point in giving with one, taking away with another? I think the pensioners have been victimised, not just by this government, but by the other governments. They must have raised billions by increasing the pension age. We just seem to be very, very easy victims. It's just so easy to take, and very difficult to give. I just can't see the point in it all.
Pensioners over the last 20 years have seen their incomes rise by about £900 a year. This is taking into the triple lock, other benefits that are coming their way. So they've seen their income really, really climb up high. Now, I'm not saying that it's not difficult for pensioners to get by on the state pension. State pension's very, very low, if you ask me, if you need to pay for everything. But pensions have seen a huge increase. But in those last 20 years, working families have lost about £1,400 from their income. So I think that's what Michael's been referring to, the disparity between the younger people who are paying the tax, which, of course, let's not forget, the tax they're paying goes to the pensioners, right? That's what they're working for. And the disparity between the two, Michael, that's the point you've been making.
Yeah, and I also think it's a mistake. I know you said there that pensioners are easy targets. I think it's precisely the opposite. I think pensioners are probably the most powerful political group in this country, other than maybe the super rich and the people who own the newspapers, because there's lots of them. It's a growing proportion of the population, and they turn out to vote more than younger people. So I think we're in danger, actually, of we need to raise money, we need to raise taxes. So who are we going to go for? We're going to go for younger people because they're less likely to vote. And that makes it very hard for people to get on the housing ladder, for example. Now, obviously, there are rich pensioners and there are poor pensioners. We shouldn't be taxing poor pensioners more. But if someone's got a very generous pension and they own their house with no mortgage, I think they should be paying in a bit more.
OK. Ian, thank you for kicking us off. Gerald's in Cumbria. Gerald, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts are that I think they should raise the income tax threshold.
OK.
But years since, when I first retired, the threshold for pensioners was £1,000 higher than it was for everybody else. The Conservative government removed that, the starting point before you pay income tax.
Yeah.
Why don't they raise the threshold for pensioners? I mean, I've paid tax all my life, even though I'm a pensioner. I'm 86 now. But I'm not a rich pensioner. It's just that I fell into the bracket because of a little bit of a private pension that I pay. But why don't they raise the threshold when pensioners start paying tax, but still raise the amount of income tax?
Yeah, I mean, Dawn, that's a good question, because the state pension at the moment is just hovering below the threshold at which you start paying tax. I mean, I think estimates are that if the triple lock is adhered to in maybe next year or the year after, even the state pension is going to require you to pay tax.
Millions
So do you agree with Gerald there? Something needs to happen.
Yeah, something needs to happen. I think the whole system needs looking at. And what I think we forget in this conversation as well is that people like Gerald, they were young families once. They had paid in all their lives for this. So they were young families. So this divisive argument pitching people like Gerald, pensioners who paid in all their lives, with today's young family. Gerald had a young family once, I'm assuming, Gerald, but, you were a young man once. You paid in. So all this division, I think we need to stop this. I think we need to get our government, and this isn't even a Labour Conservative thing. I think they've all been pretty useless. And what's to come worries me as well. But we need to get the governments of whatever political persuasion to look at the tax system and make it fair for everybody.
OK. Gerald, thank you. Bill's in Manchester. Bill, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Do you think this proposal, which we have to say that the government have said that they're not looking at doing this already, this is a proposal from the Resolution Foundation, reducing national insurance by 2p, increasing income tax by 2p. What do you think, Bill? Is it a good idea?
It sounds it, but it's just fiddling round the edges, really. What the country needs is a large injection of capital. Okay. And fiddling around the edges with bits of tax doesn't cut it.
So where would you get the capital, Bill? Where would you get that injection of capital from?
I would look at the people who are legally avoiding taxes by claiming their head office is somewhere in the Cayman Islands or Monaco or some other non-tax-paying state. Because this is really a system where rich people are covering for other rich people. And we, the taxpayers who can't avoid paying tax because we pay it as PAYE as we work, lose out. We don't have accountants. We don't have these people.
I mean, I think a lot of people will agree with you, Bill, right? I mean, everybody would like to see the big corporations who do make huge profits in the UK but are able to sort of offset that because they've got offices elsewhere. But is it going to raise that much money? I mean, how much money are we talking about here? The Chancellor is really in desperate need of between 30 and 40 billion pounds a year. The Resolution Foundation, just with this 2p shifting around, if you like, that will raise 6 billion. That doesn't even cover it. There's more that needs to be done. But Bill, thank you for your suggestion. Rosemary's on Facebook and says that I'm a pensioner and I feel this would be the only way to stabilise the economy. A wealth tax wouldn't hurt either. So inviting a wealth tax as well. Paul's in Somerset. Paul, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Good morning to you and the team. One thing I haven't heard mentioned, and I have to say I'm not a statistician, so I don't know the figures, but I ask the question. Wouldn't it be more appropriate to raise VAT? Because it might be you might be able to do it by a smaller amount per capita, if you like, because it's a larger catchment, and the fact that the rich will pay more, won't they? Because if the rich, well, they've got more disposable income, then we're going to get more VAT from them. It's just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought.
I'm a disabled pensioner, and I feel everyone's gunning for me at the moment. But I'm also a realist, and done things that have to be paid for.
Thank you for being a realist, and thank you for the question, which I'm going to put to you two. I mean, let's be clear. Labour said they will not raise VAT. However, should they be thinking about that, like Paul's suggesting?
I think it's an option. I think the biggest mistake Labour made, and let's face it, they've made many, as they would admit themselves, is when they came in, they said they wouldn't touch national insurance, they wouldn't touch VAT, and they wouldn't touch personal taxes. They are about to do all three by the sounds of what we're expecting in the budget. If they'd have been honest from the get-go and said, OK, we're going to put 1p on everybody's income tax, we probably wouldn't be in the hole we're in now.
Maybe they wouldn't have won the election. Michael?
So in terms
of
VAT, rich people will end up paying more than poor people because they buy more stuff, but we still call it a regressive tax, and that's because rich people spend a smaller proportion of their income on VAT than poor people do. So it's not progressive. So
it still would affect poorer people.
It would still affect poorer people. The benefit of raising income tax is that, well, if you're on 12 grand, if you're only on the state pension, it's not going to affect you at all. But if you are wealthy, you're going to end up paying a lot more of it. So I'm more in favour of increasing income tax and increasing VAT for that reason.
OK. Diane is in Worcestershire. Diane, welcome to the show. What are your thoughts?
Oh, hi, yeah. I'm just a little bit annoyed because my husband, because he was sensible, he's got two personal pensions. One's a military one, which he paid into. So, therefore, when he got his state pension, because he's got a military pension, he gets less state pension than somebody who hasn't got it. So he pays on both those pensions, so he gets less state pension. So he's already paying out. And the young man's going on about taxing everybody. I wondered whether he could afford to live on £12,000 a year. And maybe some of us haven't got a mortgage anymore, but we've still got bills to pay. We've still got electric, gas, food.
OK, Diane, let me put that to Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not saying that pensioners on 12 grand should pay more tax, and this proposal wouldn't mean they pay more tax because they're under the threshold. I do think that there is potentially, I suppose, not enough appreciation amongst some people who own their house outright of how much housing costs are if you don't own your house outright. So I'd say at least a third of my income, probably more, goes on rent. And that's not even to build up an asset. So I don't even have a mortgage yet. So I do think we are in a situation where lots of people who are sitting on homes that they've bought outright, and good for them, they've worked very hard for that, but they don't necessarily know how lucky they are compared to large parts of the population who are spending huge proportions of their income on rent or mortgages.
Dawn, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, because I think it's incredibly patronising what you've said to people like Diane and her husband, because they probably have struggled in their lives. They probably do know what it's like to be in your situation, to be struggling, to be worried about paying the bills, to be worried about paying the rent. And I think it's incredibly patronising for young people, and you are slightly younger than me, Michael, to tell people like Diane and her husband that they don't know how lucky they are. You own your own home, da-da-da-da-da. I think, again, it's incredible. We've got to stop dividing the generations. And this is what I keep coming back to. It's not about how well off Michael is, how well off Diana and family are. It's about getting the government, whichever government we're lumbered with at the moment, to do something about a very unfair tax situation and make sure those that are avoiding paying tax get to pay tax, but not punishing people like Diane and not punishing people like you.
I mean we've all agreed that the state pension by itself, whether you own your own home or not, is a very small amount of money for anyone to be able to get by at 12,500 just under pounds. But is it also a little bit unfair that pensioners' incomes have increased steadily by quite a considerable amount of money, whereas working families' income has actually taken a hit. Does the government not have a duty to balance that out? Because if you are going to be losing working people from the workforce, the money that you need from taxation to pay for those state pensions is just going to start diminishing.
Yeah, and pensioners worked when they were younger to pay for state pensions.
Yes.
They really did. So it's not like they're just walking into this
So I think you have
a luxury.
A problem, though, you have is that it used to be the case that there were sort of 8 workers to every one pensioner. It's soon going to be the case that there's only 1 worker to every pensioner.
That's not pensioners' fault.
No, it's
Why
not.
should they pay
This shouldn't
for
be
that?
about fault. This should be about the fact that we might have to change how we do things somewhat.
Okay, we'll leave it there. That's a good point to leave it. Don't forget later.